Sophie Cunningham just dropped a truth bomb about Caitlin Clark that nobody saw coming, and it's not what you think. While everyone's been speculating about injuries and recovery timelines, Sophie revealed something far more disturbing about why the WNBA's biggest star might be considering her options. What she exposed goes beyond the physical demands of the game and straight to the heart of a broken system that's pushing its brightest talents to the breaking point. Sophie has never been one to follow the script. In a league where players get fined thousands of dollars just for speaking their mind, she keeps talking anyway. Just this past season, she's eaten over $3,000 in fines for calling out officiating, exposing favoritism, and saying what other players only whisper in locker rooms. When you're making between $64,000 and $242,000 a year, those fines hurt. But Sophie doesn't care. She'd rather lose money than lose her voice. That's what makes her latest revelation about Caitlin Clark so explosive. This isn't coming from some random analyst or bitter rival. It's coming from someone who's been in the trenches, someone who knows exactly what it takes to survive in today's WNBA. And according to Sophie, Caitlin could already be playing basketball right now if it wasn't for one problem: the league itself. Before we dive deeper into what Sophie exposed, make sure you hit that like button if you want the real story about what's happening in women's basketball. The mainstream media won't tell you this, but we will. Sophie's exact words sent shockwaves through the basketball world. She said Caitlin could be playing if it wasn't in the WNBA by now. Think about that for a second. The most electrifying player in women's basketball, the one who brought millions of new fans to the sport, could be on a court somewhere else right now. But she's not. And Sophie just told us why. This isn't about Caitlin being soft or lacking toughness. Sophie made that crystal clear. What she exposed was far more troubling. The WNBA has become so brutally demanding that even its biggest stars need extra time just to survive. We're talking about a league where the physicality has reached rugby levels, where every possession feels like a war, and where one wrong move can end your season or even your career. But that wasn't the whole story. Sophie went even further, exposing what she calls a two-tier system that's tearing the league apart. Some players get protected by officials, given preferential treatment, and allowed to play their game. Others get hammered night after night with no calls, no protection, and no mercy. And guess which category the league's new superstars fall into? The numbers tell a story that the league doesn't want you to hear. Caitlin Clark averaged 23.6 points per game in her rookie season, while taking more hard fouls than any other guard in the league. She was knocked down, pushed around, and targeted in ways that would have gotten players ejected in any other professional sport. But in the WNBA, it was just another Tuesday night. Sophie pointed to specific games where the double standard was impossible to ignore. Like when veteran players would drive into Caitlin with clear intent to send a message, and officials would swallow their whistles. Or when established stars would get touch fouls called in their favor, while Caitlin would get clobbered with no call. It's not basketball at that point, it's sanctioned assault. What happened next would shock everyone who thought they understood the WNBA's business model. Sophie revealed that this treatment isn't random or accidental, it's systematic. The league has created an environment where new stars, especially those who bring massive attention and change the status quo, face extra punishment just for existing. They're tested, targeted, and tortured until they either conform or consider other options. And that's exactly what's happening with Caitlin right now. Sources close to the situation have confirmed that multiple overseas teams have already reached out with offers that would triple her WNBA salary. We're talking about contracts worth over $700,000, luxury accommodations, and most importantly, respect. These leagues want Caitlin Clark the superstar, not Caitlin Clark the punching bag. The timing of Sophie's revelation couldn't be more significant. Just last week, another WNBA star announced she was taking her talents overseas, citing better pay and treatment. The week before that, 2 more players signed contracts in Europe. The exodus is real, and it's accelerating. But losing Caitlin Clark wouldn't just be another departure. It would be a catastrophe for a league that's finally found its golden goose. Consider what Caitlin brought to the WNBA in just one season. Television ratings jumped 47% when she played. Attendance at Indiana Fever games nearly doubled. Jersey sales broke every record the league had. Social media engagement went through the roof. She didn't just bring fans. She brought an entire generation of young girls who finally had a hero to look up to. But here's where Sophie's truth bomb gets even more explosive. She revealed that the physical punishment Caitlyn endures isn't just about jealousy from other players. It's about a league that hasn't figured out how to protect its assets. The WNBA talks about growth and expansion, but it's still operating like a small-time operation that can't see the bigger picture. Sophie shared stories from behind closed doors that paint a disturbing picture. Players openly discussing how to rough up rookies who get too much attention. Veterans complaining about salary disparities when new stars get endorsement deals. Officials being told to let things play out instead of protecting players. It's a toxic culture that's been brewing for years, and Caitlin Clark walked right into the middle of it. The financial implications are staggering. If Caitlyn leaves for overseas, the WNBA doesn't just lose a player, it loses millions in revenue. Sponsors who signed on specifically because of her appeal would reconsider their investments. Television networks that paid premium prices for broadcast rights would demand renegotiations. The momentum the league has built would come to a screeching halt. But that's not even the worst part. What Sophie exposed next should terrify every WNBA executive. She revealed that Caitlyn isn't the only star considering her options. Multiple players, including some of the league's biggest names, are quietly exploring overseas opportunities. They're tired of being underpaid, underprotected, and undervalued. And they're ready to take their talent somewhere they'll be appreciated. The irony is almost painful. The WNBA has spent decades fighting for respect and recognition. Now they finally have it, largely thanks to players like Caitlin Clark, and they're about to throw it all away because they can't evolve fast enough to protect their own success. Sophie didn't stop there. She called out specific instances where the league's backwards thinking has cost them dearly. Like when they scheduled Caitlyn's biggest games at the same time as major sporting events, guaranteeing lower viewership, or when they failed to capitalize on viral moments that could have brought in millions of new fans. It's self-sabotage on an institutional level. The physical toll is just one part of the equation. Sophie revealed that the mental pressure on players like Caitlyn is unprecedented. Every game, every possession, every shot is scrutinized. Social media attacks from bitter fans and players, death threats for having a bad game, constant criticism from people who should be supporting the league's growth. It's enough to break anyone, no matter how tough they are. And here's what really set Sophie off. The league's response to all of this has been pathetic. Instead of protecting their stars, they issue meaningless statements about sportsmanship. Instead of punishing dirty play, they fine players like Sophie for calling it out. Instead of evolving with the times, they're stuck in 1997 wondering why nobody watches. The comparison to other leagues is embarrassing. The NBA protects its stars like precious commodities because that's exactly what they are. They understand that LeBron James or Stephen Curry getting injured on a dirty play doesn't just hurt the player, it hurts the entire product. But the WNBA hasn't learned that lesson yet, and they're about to pay the ultimate price. Sophie's revelation about Caitlyn's situation has sparked a conversation that's been overdue for years. Players are speaking up, fans are demanding change, and even some coaches are breaking ranks to support reform. But is it too little too late? That depends on what happens in the next few weeks. Sources indicate that Caitlyn and her team are at a crossroads. Stay in the WNBA and hope things improve, or take the guaranteed money and respect waiting overseas. It shouldn't even be a question, but thanks to the league's failures, it's become the biggest decision in women's basketball history. What makes this even more frustrating is that the solution is simple. Protect your stars. Pay them fairly. Market them properly. Punish dirty play. Create an environment where talent can thrive instead of just survive. Every other professional sports league figured this out decades ago. Why can't the WNBA? Sophie's courage in speaking out has given voice to what many have been thinking, but were too afraid to say. The WNBA is at a turning point. They can either evolve and embrace their newfound popularity, or they can watch their biggest stars walk away to leagues that actually value them. Clock is ticking. Every day that passes without meaningful change is another day closer to losing Caitlin Clark and others like her. And once they're gone, they're not coming back. The overseas leagues are offering multi-year deals with opt-outs that would keep these stars away from the WNBA for the prime years of their careers. Sophie Cunningham didn't just make an announcement about Caitlin Clark. She exposed a broken system that's destroying its own success. She pulled back the curtain on a league that talks about progress while actively sabotaging it. And most importantly, she gave fans the truth about why their favorite player might not be around much longer. The ball is now in the WNBA's court. They can either listen to voices like Sophie's and make real changes, or they can continue down this path of self-destruction. But one thing is certain, if Caitlin Clark leaves, she won't be leaving alone. And the WNBA might never recover from the exodus that follows. If you think the WNBA needs to wake up before it's too late, drop a comment below and let them know how you feel. And don't forget to subscribe for more uncensored truth about what's really happening in women's basketball. Because if we don't speak up now, there might not be a league left to save.